Good afternoon. Welcome to Middle Age Mum Rant. My video today is going to be some of the observations and thoughts that occurred as to the effects of watching the whole knife in the kidneys Kody Brown monologue. You know, the one where he was hoping to get a BAFTA or an Oscar for it, but it turns out all he got was the ump, really. A bad attitude and a hair toss in the back of his van. Some of the things that really got to me were obviously the more extravagant outbursts by Kody. You know, oh, the sacrifices I made to love you, wasted. Did you like that? That was my best impression. Number one, Kody Brown. Let's not get it twisted. You did not have to sacrifice to love any of these women. 3 of them you didn't love. You just liked what their presence afforded you, which was you having bragging rights to having so many kids, not having to provide for them because you laid the responsibility for that solely on the mums. It meant you could still drive around in your little flashy mini small man car, whilst you had the wives driving round in very dangerous, bashed up vehicles that would probably have fallen apart if you poked it in the wrong spot. But you never sacrificed anything, because everything was always about you. Everything. Every decision had to be run through you. Every thought they had could be challenged and torn apart by you. You sacrificed nothing for any of your children or any of these women except for Robin. You were fine sacrificing 3 marriages and 15 kids for her. You really were. Awful, awful. And the silly things that you were saying, like, well, it's like now you're getting out of the lobster bucket. Pretending you didn't know she was going to leave you. You set it up for her to leave you. You did it so that she got absolutely no respect, no love, no warmth, and eventually the threat of no intimacy in her own marriage. It took for that, and the thought that you were putting her out to pasture like a prize cow at a fair, for her to say, this is not what I want for myself. You knew that lying about wanting to move back to Utah to her and then spinning it to cause her trouble later, that was going to be a reason she wanted to leave. The fact that you were so poor as a father to poor Isabel, and then you ignored going to Isabel's surgery, outright refused, had the bare audacity to say that you didn't think she needed an operation on her spine, when a qualified medical professional had not only told you that she desperately needed it, but had explained why as well. And I'm sorry, Kody, but until you can flash us the certificates to say that you know more than this guy did, how could you have the absolute pig ignorant arrogance to assume that you knew better? You weren't even aware of how much pain Isabel was in on a day-to-day basis. You didn't know because you didn't care enough to find out or even ask. Christine had 3 billion reasons to leave your sorry backside, because you gave nothing. And then sulked if they asked you for anything. Anything. You deliberately steered away from the conversation about you agreeing with Christine that you should go back to Utah. You changed that conversation by going, no, I'll tell you what I do remember. I remember your mantra being, it's not about the man, it's about the family. You steered it away from that because you knew you were walking into dangerous territory there. You could have got exposed at any point. And I think you knew that. That's why you twisted that whole part of the conversation to turn it into an accountability seeking exposition with Christine. Trying to get Mary involved because you knew you were such a gutless wonder, didn't you, Kody? You knew that. You knew that nothing you said held water, but you were going to try the gang mentality and see if you can get the others to join in with you to make her feel sufficiently guilty. You absolute tool. You don't think that she laid there night after night after night after night, just like the others did, wondering and going through this decision in her head? She weighed it up, didn't she? You weren't giving her anything at all. You abused her feelings left and right. You withdrew intimacy, love, affection, everything from her as a form of punishment. And then you tried saying, my relationship with you, me being able to be sexually attracted to you is based on how you treat other people. What utter rot. It wasn't though, was it, Kody? It was because the only one you now felt capable sleeping with was Robin. Occasionally throwing Janelle a little bit here and there. Oh, and while we're on the subject, I know this is going off the path a bit. Of course Mary wasn't getting pregnant. You were never sleeping with her. Be real. You're man of the world enough to know what requires making a baby. And you were never holding up your end of the bargain there. And penalising her because she only gave birth to Leon. It takes a special kind of arse to do that to somebody that's having fertility issues. Because you could go out and make so many more with all the others, couldn't you? And you did. You cretin. To weaponise somebody's infertility. How do you sleep at night? I just don't know. But asking for Mary to back you up that day. And it was obvious you were always talking about one wife to another. They all knew far too much about your thoughts and what was happening in each other's houses for you not to be spilling your mouth about everything. The whole knife in the kidneys monologue. You really thought you were doing something there, didn't you? You thought that looked real good. Even changing your position to make a better angle for the camera. It was cringeworthy, Kody. You made community theatre look like Oscar-nominated territory. You did. And Robin, what was all that about the boo-hooing? Oh, she's now saying she doesn't want anything to do with me or my children. No, you'd already been telling your kids that nonsense anyway. And how can she have anything to do with children you wouldn't let her have access to or see? You pushed Christine out from the very beginning because you worked out that she was somebody that would have come to you with a quick apology. She would have done. And she did. again and again and again and again. But she was a quick fix if you needed that extra sympathy, that extra narcissistic supply from everyone out there. You thought the general public were buying it, we weren't, never mind, move on. But then to say, oh, so are you saying that you just want us to give you your space, just let you do your thing for now? You'd set that up with Kody. That was a whole thing you'd set up. Because that was when he was going to really bring it home, have a temper tantrum, and then walk. Like the coward that he is. Oh, and I do believe the only thing that scares Kody is poverty. Because above everything else, that is all he values. Stuff and money. Oh, and Robin. But seeing as she is a walk-in purchase to him anyway, she's just another goods in his cart, isn't she? We've seen so much, but that knife in the kidneys monologue. And Christine said, well, I didn't mean to treat anyone bad. But you did. And you couldn't correct it. How has she treated anybody badly, Kody? She did her mothering. She also mothered those children on the behalf of others. She was the father to them kids you never would, could, or should be. Because what you've got to offer just is subpar. It's not enough, I'm afraid. She was never horrible, deliberately, to anybody. Yes, she had her moments of getting fed up with all the stuff thrown at her all the time. But she wasn't what you would call out and out horrible. She would accommodate you anytime, any place, anywhere, for anything. You just had to show up, and you just didn't. Another thing, how the hell did you let your heavily pregnant wife, whose prior pregnancy ended with her nearly dying and bleeding to death, how do you sleep at night knowing you demanded she get, on top of looking after all the kids, a night job? It's almost like you were hoping for a repetition. She had to get a night job, but you got to bugger off every weekend and cozy up with your latest bit of skirt. Shame on you. I don't know how you managed to get 4 women at all. I don't really understand how you have one of them still left prepared to be with you. But it's obvious why the first 3 left. And admittedly, it took Mary a long time, but now she's out. She is so out and gone. You didn't deserve her. You're not worthy of any of those original 3 women, any of them. I think you and Robin have got a certain understanding, so you get what you pay for, Kody. You know what I mean? But saying to Christine, sit there, just soak in that. Because you thought you'd slammed the hammer down and said something really, really wounding to her. But she grey rocked everything you said. That woman came out of there with her crown on straight and the smile on her face. And you were reduced to the little floppy, silly, naughty boy who'd been told off and put in time out in the back of that flat bed in the back of that van. You saw the camera looking and you went like that. Don't look at me. I'm being moody. The sacrifices I made to love you. Wasted. What sacrifices did you make, Kody? When did you even pretend to love her? Like I say, someone that looks like me wouldn't have you overnight in my home. In fact, the moment you opened your mouth and started prophesying, you'd have been on the other side of the front door with a rattle in your hand and a foot in your backside. And Mary, I kind of understand you being glad that Kody said what he said to Christine, because you'd been the one treated as if you were the wrong un for a long time. And you thought the only way you could win favour with him is if someone else looked worse. So I kind of get that you were trained to behave and feel like that. But Robin never had your back. She had your PIN number, is what she had. She didn't have your back. If she genuinely cared for you, she could see how unhappy you were. She would have told you to leave that relationship in your rearview mirror a decade ago. But you were handy to have around. And your bank balance made it quite comfortable for Robin. Leading you on, pretending that he was telling her how much he loved you still and all that. She was lying to you. Lying to your face and stabbing your back. And I'm glad that you can see it now for what it is, but I'm sad that you've had to have that experience, because nobody deserves that, Mary. And if you did have a relationship with a catfish, and you thought it was a genuine relationship, I, for one, wouldn't blame you. I would have left the marriage first and then gone and pursued something with somebody. But I don't blame you. He was expecting you to put up with never having him there. He wanted you to be lonely the rest of your life. And he was never coming back to you. In fact, when they were moving to Flagstaff, you decided at first you weren't moving there. Didn't you, darling? You were going to have your real life with your real friends, people that really cared for you. But he needed your money, see, so he bait and switched you and got you back down here with him in Flagstaff. And as soon as it was comfortable enough, he started ignoring you all over again. Kody, how you've got the audacity to have any kind of list that any kind of woman has got to meet to be with you is beyond anybody's understanding. You are by far the most repugnant male on the planet. The fact that you think you've got the right to have an ask of anybody is just hilarious to me. I get it. Everyone's going to think this is just me having a go at Kody all the time. Well, it is at the moment, because it's my opportunity to say the things that I've really wanted to get off my chest for a long time. So there might be more of this. There most likely will be more of this. But like, comment, and subscribe, share, whatever you feel like doing, if you feel like doing anything. If not, don't worry, it's all good. But love and light to you beautiful people out there. And to the little mushroom that is Kody Brown, I hope it's all right there in the dark, because you're going to be sitting in it on your lowy lonesome for a long while yet, love. Have a good day, everyone.